Hello, my creative friends. I'm Heather North from heatherscreativeblessings.com. I am here with a video that's long overdue. A few weeks ago, I showed this card in video for the Card a Day Challenge. And I promised you another video showing one of the other cards that I made using the same stamp set from Little Inker Designs. The stamp set is called Girl's Best Friend. Isn't that appropriate with all of these diamonds? I'll be using the large diamond for this particular card. What I have here is a piece of Basil marshmallow paper that is cut to 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. I'm going to end up trimming it down in the end, but this is what I started with. And then I'm going to line it up on my grid mat, and I'm lining it on the left-hand side along the line, and then I am counting up 1 3/4 inches. Then I'm just going to take my T-square ruler along that thick line and just draw a thin pencil line with my mechanical pencil. Then I'm going to count over to the middle, which will be 2 3/4 inches, and I'll put a little tick, so that's the very middle of the card. What this line will do is to help me line up my stamping so that when I stamp, the diamonds will all be in a row. I'm going to be heat embossing these gems, so I started out with my embossing buddy, just remove any static from that cardstock. Then I'm going to take Versamark ink and that biggest stamp, and I'm going to stamp the diamond the point of the diamond right on that tick mark. And then sorry about my head. I know you can't see it, but then I'm going to line up either side of the stamp with the center stamp. I'll be embossing these diamonds with the silver embossing powder from Stampin' Up. I'm just going to sprinkle that embossing powder over the stamped images and tap off any excess. While I have everything out, I'm going to stamp one more of these gems just on another piece of Basil marshmallow paper. And again, I'm going to put some silver embossing powder over it, and then I'm going to heat set all of the gems at the same time. My next step is just to take a clean eraser and erase those pencil marks that I made. This diamond you see here is one that I created earlier, just my practice piece, and I'm going to try and recreate it. What I do is I take my Stampin' Up! Ink pads, first I'm using Soft Sky, and I squeeze it together after I've opened it just slightly so that the ink gets onto the lid of my ink pad. Then I'm going to take an aqua painter that has water in the barrel, and I'm just squeezing water over that diamond. Then I'm picking up ink with my aqua painter, and I'm painting my diamond. I'm going to come in with the Lost Lagoon ink, which is a lot darker, and I don't want the colors to move around too much where I don't want them to go. So what I tried to do there was to heat set it and kind of and dry it, so that I could then come in and just add this Lost Lagoon in the shadow areas. It doesn't matter if I go outside the lines because I'm going to end up cutting this one out. I'll also sometimes use my finger or paper towel to just pick up excess ink or water. The center here got a little bit too dark, so I'm squeezing the barrel of my aqua painter to just lighten it up a little bit and add some water in there. And then I'm going to use my finger, because I didn't have a paper towel handy, and just remove some of the excess ink. Once I'm happy with it, I'll just let it sit to air dry. And I'm going to go ahead and cut out my practice piece because it's nice and dry. I did it last night. And I'm just going to go right along those embossed lines. It's really easy to fussy cut this one out. I'm going to pop that diamond up using dimensionals, but I wanted to just do a quick and dirty coloring of the center diamond so that if you see underneath it, you'll see color. I don't know if that makes any sense. But it's just one of those little details and touches that make a card look more professional. The sentiment, I treasure you, also comes from the Girl's Best Friend stamp set from Little Inker Designs. I tried Soft Sky first there on my scrap paper, my grid mat, and it was too light. So I did it in the Lost Lagoon, and it was perfect. So, excuse my head, I'm sorry. I'm just going to line it up under those diamonds. It's at this point I decided that I wanted to do a border at the top and bottom of my panel. And I didn't want to just use cardstock. I wanted to have the colors match since there wasn't a lot of color on this. So what I did is I took another piece of paper and I wet it down with my aqua painter. Then I went over that with Soft Sky, and then now I'm coming in with Lost Lagoon. And there's a lot of water on this paper to get the ink really flowing. And I don't want it to be too even and too solid. I really like that watercolor look. Once my watercolor piece was dry, I came in with these little sparkles from the Girl's Best Friend stamp set. And I'm going to take my Lost Lagoon ink and do second generation stamping, or I usually call it stamping off. So first I stamp on my scrap paper, then I go directly to my watercolor paper. I'm moving my stamp a little bit each time so that not all the sparkles are going in the same direction. This gives a really subtle background, and it's not going to be seen so much, but it does add some interest. I'm going to use the grid mat to line these strips up. I just cut them down to about 1/2 inch by 5.5 inches. I'm lining it up with my grid mat, and then I'm going to line that center panel on top of it at 1/4 inch. And I look at the top and bottom to see that it's aligned and see that I don't have paper sticking out either side. I'm going to repeat that process for the bottom. It sometimes helps if you put a little bit of sticky tape on your grid mat to hold that little piece in place. Kind of wish I would have done that here, but careful hand placement does work. This piece did get a little warped with all that watercoloring, so I added a lot of snail adhesive. To get it onto my card front, I'm just lining it up. Again, I'm using the grid mat, making sure there's an even amount of space on the top and the bottom of this piece. Once I have it where I like it, I'll just stick it down. Like I said earlier, I'm just popping up that fussy cut diamond using Stampin' Dimensionals. At this point, you could use Wink of Stella or Crystal Effects or Glossy Accents to add even more shine to your diamond, but I think I'm just going to leave this one. It's a really nice, clean, and simple card. So I want to thank Teresa again for having me on the A Card a Day Challenge. Thank you for all of my new subscribers and for your patience in waiting for this card. If you'd like to see more ideas and inspiration, be sure and head over to my blog. I'll have a link below so you can see all the cards that were made. And if you want to see more videos like this from me, subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss a one. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you find some time to get creative. Bye.